So today's ending in Y, so that means the right wing is lying. Send this to a right winger you know. And even if you're an independent and you want to kind of understand the nuance of what's going on because the media constantly lies, then stick around. Because today we're going to be talking again about the UAW and all the lies that the right can't stop telling about the strike. Let's check in with the Pope of Morals, Ben Shapiro, and see what he had to say about the strike.
Donald Trump is willing to take advantage of any opening, right? It does not matter from which direction. He will take you from the left. He will take you from the right. Because he does not actually have a set of core principles, Donald Trump, this means that
true.
President Trump will come at Joe Biden from the left. He will try to edge him out of his union support with the UAW. This now has forced Joe Biden to go to the picket lines in Michigan to try and shore up that UAW support. The fact that Biden is headed to the picket lines is pretty shocking. For the sitting president of the United States to actively take sides in a labor dispute that he himself has effectively created through his electric vehicle mandates, which is what all these car companies are looking at and freaking out about.
I do not know why he is so committed to continue to lie about electric cars. Although I do know because he's invested in oil and so is his company.
They make all their money off gas-powered engines. And now they're being told they need to go to significantly less economically efficient EVs.
It's such a stupid lie. Anytime somebody says this to you or tries to trot out this talking point, understand what a stupid lie it is. Joe Biden has nothing to do with the fact that these companies are going to EVs. We're going to EVs for the same exact reason why we do everything else in this country. Money! And I thought the right wing was so America first and wanted to protect American jobs and be the best of the best of the best, sir. What happened? The reason why they are doing it is because they want to compete with China. And in the US right now, we're losing. They understand that technology is advancing and we have to keep up. Even the chairman of Ford said the U.S. is not quite ready to compete with China in the production of electric vehicles and said that his company is taking an all hands on deck to prepare. Did he say they were taking an all hands on deck approach because he's scared of Biden? No, they're doing it because they want to compete. Technology moves forward and you either get with the fucking program or you get left the fuck behind. This would be like if when the internal combustion engine was invented, a bunch of newspapers ran pieces about how actually we need to stop this advancement in its tracks. Because what about the horse and buggy industry? That's how fucking stupid this sounds. But God forbid we actually look at the facts because it might get in the way of your fucking culture war. But moving on to the next line of nonsense and lies that he tells.
UAW, however, is not involved in former President Trump's planned visit on Wednesday, nor have they been in contact with his team. So Trump apparently is going to skip that second presidential primary debate in California, which is supposed to happen on Wednesday. And he's expected to also head to Michigan to address those union workers. Now, this is something that the Trump team worked hard on in 2016. They tried to make reach outs to a lot of the Rust Belt workers, and that meant going and making overtures to many of the private sector unions, not public sector unions, but private sector unions like the UAW. Now, to be completely fair to the automakers, what the UAW is asking for in these negotiations is totally wild. I mean, asking for a 32-hour work.
I love how he starts that with, well, to be fair to the automakers. No, but you always take the boss's side. You're a water boy. You're a water boy to the elites and the corporations and the oligarchs. So why do you feel the need to pre-qualify that as if we don't already know? It's the unions are asking for so much. He calls the UAW saying that they want fair wages for their work and they want defined benefit plans. He calls that wild. But you'll notice they never say that it's wild that the CEOs just keep giving themselves raises over and over and over again. That they give themselves bonuses over and over and over again. Stock buybacks in order to inflate the price of their stocks so that they can get more bonuses. That's not wild. But the UAW wanting to have defined pension plans when, let's remember, back in 2008, when the financial crash happened, the UAW gave up a lot of their benefits. They let their pension plans take a serious hit. They didn't get raises. They let them create a two-tier system. All of that with the promise that once things got better, they would get their due. But everybody has to have such a fucking short memory that they forget all the sacrifices that the workers made in 2008 and now are calling what they're asking for wild and outrageous. The 40% raise that they're asking for is over 4 years. It's not just right now, number one. Number two, they're all like, oh, we can't afford that. You know, it's just like a lot that they're asking for, even though it's all stuff that we said that we would give them back after we recovered in '08. If it's unreasonable that they're asking for their pensions and they're asking for decent wages, then why is it not unreasonable that the GM chief's compensation grew by 32% from 2018 to 2022? During that same period, the median GM employee pay only grew by 2.8%. Ford-appointed CEO Jim Farley, we'll get to him in a second, his pay jumped more as well. And the Stellantis guy making 365 times as much as his median employee. Not to mention the ungodly amount of money these people spend every single year on stock buybacks. A practice that used to be illegal, but like everything else corrupt, made its comeback under Reagan. Which brings me to Farley. As some of you might have thought of, he actually is related to Chris Farley. I know. Which is actually kind of sad, you know? Because if any of you guys remember Tommy Boy, the premise of the movie was that, like, corporate goons were trying to take over their small family-owned shop. And it was Tommy and his friend that went all over the country to try to save the plant, to try to save it and keep the workers whole. But sadly, his brother decided that he was going to become Zelensky, the auto parts king in this story. And here he is on CNBC. Another disclaimer. Never believe anything you see on CNBC. Never. They never give you the full story. They lie constantly by omission, and every question is framed from the perspective and to the benefit of the corporation.
Quickly put in some perspective. The offer that they have, what they're demanding relative to where you are right now, how much damage would that do to the bottom line if you were to say, sure, we'll give you 40%?
If we signed up for the UAW's request, instead of making money and distributing $75,000 in profit sharing in the last 10 years, we would have lost $15 billion and gone bankrupt by now. This is our fully tenured school teacher in the U.S. makes $66,000. Someone from the military, our fireman makes mid-50,000. This is 4, 5 times, 6 times what they make. There's no way we can be sustainable as a company.
Spot the lies there. Number one, he says they're going to go bankrupt if they give them what they want. Whenever a corporation is talking about how we're going to go bankrupt and they're trying to fearmonger and lie to the American people because they don't want them on the side of the workers, we're going to go bankrupt. We're going to lose it all. It's going to be gone. You don't even believe that. Because if you did believe that, then why are you spending like drunken sailors on yourself? Notice how he tries to pit working class people against each other. Instead of actually being like, firefighters, people in the military, teachers, they don't make enough money, they should make more. He tries to pit workers against each other by saying, teachers don't make as much, firefighters don't make as much, troops don't make as much. I do also love how the right wing always trots out the troops when it comes to enriching themselves. But like, they don't give a shit about the troops. The troops. We don't want to fund their healthcare, but the troops. We don't want to fund the VA, but the troops. We all voted against the toxic burn pit bill and the bill to fund the 9/11 fund, but the troops. They literally only ever bring up the troops when it comes to like passing shit for the military industrial complex that doesn't go to the troops anyway. Or as a way to pit working people against each other. Also, it's a bullshit comparison because he's talking about public sector unions, not private sector unions, of which they are. But Lord knows we can't expect the interviewer on CNBC to, do a follow-up question. So just understand that everything that they are saying is a lie. Everything that they're saying is a lie. And you can see that in their actions. Because if they were really that concerned about going bankrupt, they wouldn't be spending the kind of money on stock buybacks that they are. Continuing to give themselves raise year after year after year. If they were really so concerned. They use that same bullshit line about investing in electric cars. We need all the money we can to invest in electric cars and the workers are going to cost so much. Really, then why do you keep spending it on yourself? Maybe you should be a little bit more frugal. Instead of telling the workers to take another pay cut, why don't you not get a fourth house? It's always working people that are expected to make sacrifices. We never ask the rich to sacrifice anything. As if like not getting another yacht is so much of a sacrifice anyhow. And they especially never want to acknowledge or have people remember the amount that the unions gave up in order to do the right thing and to help the country in '08. God forbid these people actually keep their promises to their workers And God forbid that these workers actually want a pension instead of having their money set into the market where clowns can gamble on it and they might lose it all.